Welcome to Press Start to Join, a proud member of the Alberta Podcast Network powered by ETB. This is episode 219, and I'm Alan.
I'm Josh. I talk briefly about the best skin on Overwatch with the Halloween update.
We've got more news on the continuing story that is Bloomberg's hatchet job of reporting on security stuff.
I recommend a show on Netflix that's so risque they could only get away with it if it was like animated or something.
And I recommend another fantastic medieval fantasy book from Mike Cole. First up this week, we've got some more updates to that Bloomberg story we talked about last week with the alleged Chinese hacking microchip installed on servers from like Apple and Amazon.
All the big ones.
Yeah, and it's raising a bunch more questions about the fact-checking in that article. Because, oof. First word came out that the FBI knew nothing about the story, like, at all. And Bloomberg had been supposedly researching it for years and talking to, like, top people and unnamed senior sources and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And then, I guess Apple actually sent a letter to Congress explicitly saying that there is no evidence of anything like what Bloomberg is saying happening.
Wow.
And so I'm pretty sure that stands as legal testimony to Congress now. So if it comes out that Apple's like lying or something, that's gonna come back huge. So I could see them not doing it unless it's absolutely positive 100% they're correct. But now we have an NSA senior advisor, Rob Joyce, going on record saying that he hasn't seen anything to do with the concerns in the article.
Oh, man.
Yeah, direct quote from him. I've got all sorts of commercial industry freaking out and just losing their minds about this concern, and nobody's found anything. He also noted that with the strong denials coming from everyone involved, the companies would, quote, suffer a world of hurt if regulators later found that they lied.
Yeah.
So there's no chance this is happening. Like you really have to wonder, why did Bloomberg do this? Like it's pretty clear that they don't have solid sources, because with all the backlash, they would have done something to corroborate it by now. So
2 journalists are out of a job now.
I mean, with an article this big with this much stuff, it would have to be more than it would have to be some kind of concerted effort. I don't know what's going on with it. Some people are speculating online that maybe it's political. They're trying to something trade tariffs China something. But I don't understand.
This is actual fake news.
Yeah, this is literal fake news. There's even some strange details I found on Daring Fireball. He was summarizing a podcast interview from security researcher Joe Fitzpatrick when he was talking on the podcast Risky Business. I guess the security researcher had a conversation with Bloomberg reporters trying to provide background information on potential hardware exploits, just in general, nothing specific. So just background, this could happen kind of thing.
Oh.
But a lot of, if not all of the details that he speculated on were incorporated into the details behind China's alleged hack. So it's very much like he was saying, yeah, so if this happened and then this happened, this could happen, and then that might lead into that. And then the resulting article seems to be using those as facts. Even the coupler, the little microchip thing that they're using in the article's photo of the spy chip, that's from a catalog link that he sent Bloomberg as an example of something, just how tiny the microchip could be.
Uh-oh.
Fitzpatrick even said, quote, either I have excellent foresight or something else is going on. So that's just a mess right there. I don't know what Bloomberg's doing or what they're trying to accomplish, but wow, mission failed. Time to go home. We also have some cool information from the Overwatch League and what they're going to be doing in the 2019 season.
Neat.
First up, there's going to be 8 new teams across the 2 divisions. The Atlantic division will have Atlanta, Paris, Toronto, and Washington, D.C. And the Pacific division has Chengdu, Guangzhou, Hangzhou, and Vancouver.
Woo!
couple of Canadian teams in there. Nothing from Alberta, but I don't know. Unless the color schemes of the new teams really kick it up a notch, I'm probably just going to stick with Philly.
Yeah, and we're far less populated than those two places.
This is true. This is very true. Eight matches over 4 5-week stages. So the new schedule will actually see teams playing 0, 1, or 2 matches in a given week, giving them a lot more time to recharge and visit their families between games.
That's good.
Yeah, because as it is, like, they would go multiple matches a week. Like, if they had 1 match a week, they'd be lucky. And just, I think that was really punishing on a lot of people. Like, I'm pretty sure that's why Pine left mid-season and came back at the end, and a lot of that kind of thing. So that they're really trying to focus on quality of life changes for the players. The stage finals are also going to see the top 8 teams from each stage fight in a seeded playoff bracket instead of the top 6. So I think that's kind of to accommodate the extra whole schwack of teams that they're adding. They're moving the All-Star Summer Vacation to between stages 2 and 3 instead of after the finals to kind of facilitate a longer break mid-season. Okay. Again, to give players more time with their families and time to relax. They're also introducing, this is pretty cool, a playoffs play-in tournament, giving the 2 winning teams of that tournament slots in the season playoffs as well as the usual top 6 spots. So this will be a tournament of all the teams rank 7 through 12, I believe, in the league. So you've got the top 6 teams, and then all the middling teams duke it out for those last 2 slots.
That's cool.
So yeah, so it's going to be a really cool way of giving teams that hit their stride late in the season a chance to take it all the way into the season finals.
It's pretty much a loser's bracket.
I mean, you're not wrong, but it gives them a chance at the title, which is kind of awesome, yeah. Online subscribers this week with kind of a neat little bonus. Alongside the 3 new NES titles that they've released for subscribers, NES Open Tournament Golf, Solomon's Key, and Super Dodgeball, they're also offering a special version of the original Legend of Zelda that lets players start with a bunch of really powerful equipment.
Oh.
Now, this isn't like a hacked ROM or anything. What it is actually is it's the normal base game Legend of Zelda that also has an added special save file that if you start up a game in it, it gives Link immediate access to the white sword, the magic shield, the blue ring, and the power bracelet, along with a red potion, heart containers, some secondary items, and a full load of rupees, bombs, and keys.
Sounds like a hacked version.
Well, because it's just the one save file is the thing, so you can play the base game if you want, as the developers intended. One thing though, like the new save file, the new fanciness, it makes the game a lot more accessible, but, and this is a big but, it's like the first time you load up a game, you're like, okay, God mode on now, let's play, and it's just gonna get boring.
Or like just you'd get lost because there's no progression.
Well, the original Legend of Zelda was interesting in that you could do things out of order. You could kind of just explore around and do whatever. There's no set order to things. So it's kind of embracing that spirit of exploration, but at the same time, you're just jumping in with the best items, and there's no there's no sense of growth, sense of mastery that you get from building your arsenal one piece at a time and overcoming challenges. It's just going to be really easy in the beginning and then middling to difficult in the end. Like if anything, it'll get harder as the game goes on instead of the game ramping as your skill progresses, you know? So I'm not 100% sure on that. Like it's a neat little throw in, but like I said, it's like you start up a brand new game, you've never touched it before, and you immediately turn on God mode and infinite ammo. It's like, oh, okay, so you just want to experience the story then? You just want to, it's a walking simulator?
Yeah.
I don't know. And the last big news item of the week here, Borderlands 2 is actually coming to the PSVR this December. This is a full game VR revamp, kind of like Skyrim VR, with the full price tag to prove it. It's going to be $50 American, 60 something Canadian. So It looks neat. It's going to include the usual 87 bazillion guns, but the Plains of Pandora will be a little more lonely because there is no multiplayer support.
Oh.
Yeah, if you want your multiplayer VR fix, I've heard Fireteam, I think, is the way to go. I've been thinking about checking it out. People have been describing that one actually as like Counter-Strike VR, and it looks cool. But they have added a couple of tweaks to Borderlands 2 VR, like Badass Mega Fun Time, or BAMF, for Matrix-style bullet dodging and skill shots.
Well, I guess, that makes sense if it's VR.
Yeah, and with that kind of thing, it kind of makes sense to not have multiplayer. So that, like, what would you do? Like, one person slows the game down for everyone? That'd be disorienting.
Yeah, or a lot of games, like, when you do have multiplayer, just disables those.
Yeah, exactly. And some good news for Borderlands 2 VR, they're actually supporting both teleportation and direct movement with both the Move and DualShock controllers.
Oh.
Because I know a lot of people, like, teleport is the default for people with motion sickness. But in a shooter environment, a lot of people want direct control. Like Skyrim has it. I don't think Doom VFR has it. I think Doom VFR is exclusively teleports.
Oh.
But a lot of people are looking for this direct locomotion just to be in the game and not kind of blipping around, but actually like have a solid presence, you know?
Yeah.
This week's episode is brought to you in part by Park Power. Here in Alberta, you get to choose who you buy your energy from, and Park Power makes it possible for you to shop locally. Not only that, but they also share 10% of their profits with local charities. When you sign up, you get to choose which one that money goes to, like Boys and Girls Club, Muscular Dystrophy, there's all kinds of options. Park Power is available in most areas of Alberta, and you can check out parkpower.ca for more details on just how easy it is to switch.
So on Instagram, I learned how to do polls. And although I couldn't see exactly how many people voted, I did ask followers on our Instagram account, we're just at PS2J Show on all social media.
Yeah.
I asked, do you listen to podcasts on YouTube? And out of responses, we have 60% yes.
Oh, I better get on that YouTube stuff then.
So yeah, you can. We can keep working on what we've been talking about, but this will be the first news episode to be on YouTube. So hello, YouTube.
Cool. Yeah.
We've had this channel for a long time, and we did gaming, and then it got to be more work than it was fun.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
That was the turnaround on that.
It'll be cool to get back into video production and do more of that whole thing. Got a whole new audience.
Well, we are using a different system for podcasts, so it will be easier on me.
Mm-hmm.
Other than like full video editing. Holy crap, that was just weeks of work.
Yeah, but as a little bonus, we will also be offering some slightly higher quality episodes on YouTube of the gaming history episodes.
Oh yeah.
So that'll be worth keeping an eye out for.
The news ones will be fairly templated though, because they are weekly.
Mm-hmm. I mean, all of them, like, it's not going to be all about the visuals, because we are primarily a podcast.
Yeah.
But there's going to be a couple little bonuses to the history episodes.
I really thought about it, and I listen to 2 podcasts on YouTube that I don't subscribe to anywhere else. One is the H3 podcast, which makes sense because they have a full like Twitch streaming production.
Cool.
Where they have like sometimes they open a 1-800 number. They have like a screen they can put visuals on, and when they have guests, and they have a nice big table and a production. They have like a production budget. Like that makes sense.
Fancy.
But like I listened to Super Mega on YouTube as well, which is just a looping image with the guys talking. So
okay.
I was like, why don't we just do it?
And actually, funnily enough, there's a podcast that streams first on Twitch and then on YouTube. It's Dice Camera Action. It's an actual play D&D kind of stream. And I'm the other way on that. Like recently, they've started releasing the episodes on podcast platforms, audio only, and I've been listening to them a lot.
Oh.
And it's just like every couple episodes, the DM will be like, and the monster looks like this, and he's clearly holding something up to the camera, which I have no access to.
Yeah.
But I'm like, use my imagination.
The other thing on my mind is Overwatch has its Halloween out, and the skins are so awesome.
Oh, yeah, they're all good.
And I don't think they go this far with many skins, which is why I appreciate it so much. Generally, the skins are just like a skin. They just remodel the character, and that's it.
Yeah.
Pharah's enchanted armor is by far the best because when she's defeated, the armor loses its life and just falls to the ground and bounces as individual objects.
Oh, so they kind of use the Wrecking Ball code on that.
Or like Bastion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, where she will sort of, if she gets like headshotted, she'll just fall and then the pieces will drift and then splash everywhere. It's amazing.
Cool. Well, that's a really nice touch.
Yeah, and that's definitely why I think that's the best skin. A lot of people are saying Slasher 76 because he's got like a chainsaw gun, but
it is very cool.
That Pharah, they gave it that extra effort of a different death animation, and that wins it in my books.
Well, now all we need is to see like bullets pass through the areas, like the gaps in Pharah's
changing
armor.
The hitbox.
Yeah,
that's too much, man.
And that would break the game because then everyone would go the armor Pharah because it has a better hitbox.
When we were playing like Mystery Heroes, I did have that brain blast moment where I was trapped in May's ult being frozen. And I was wrecking ball, and I'm like, what do I do? Oh, ball up, no head box.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So it's saved. I was able to escape, but who knows? Well, my team died, so that's wrecking ball.
And actually, speaking of the Overwatch Halloween event, that update also brought in some changes that I think we've mentioned previously, like Torbjorn's rework on his turret and ultimate, where he spews lava everywhere now.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
And May's Blizzard now has the full globe effect, so you can see the entire area that it's going to affect and not just the little circle on the ground.
Yeah, they needed that so bad.
Yeah, it's got the full dome, and it looks really good too.
Jumping over to the other game we play a lot, Heroes of the Storm. Mal'Ganis is a melee warrior with strong sustainability and adaptable crowd control, joining the roster.
Cool.
Apparently, he is the one of the like lieutenants of the Lich King that was the one to actually convert Arthas to evil. I forget his name.
Yeah, Arthas sounds right.
And he encouraged him to pick up Frostmourne, and then after he did, he killed Mal'Ganis with it.
Oh, well, that's a nice little thank you.
So it's nice to have a big melee bruiser in the roster, because Diablo is one of my favorites to play.
Oh, yeah?
So it's good to have options. This guy has a really powerful trait called Vampiric Touch. He gains 45% of damage dealt to enemy heroes back as health. And non-heroes, 15% of damage. So
yeah, still, that's not nothing.
No. And then his Q is called Fell Claws. He violently slashes in a direction you choose. And each slash does damage, and you can reactivate it up to 2 more times. So he does a combo of 3. And at the third one, he actually stuns enemies that are hit.
Oh, fancy.
Then his W is this nice little panic thing called Necrotic Embrace, where he does an AoE around him, saps nearby enemies' health to give it back to himself, and then he also gains a whole bunch of armor for 3 seconds.
Nice.
E is Night Rush. After a short charge, he floats into the air, gains 50% movement speed for 2 seconds, and any enemies he passes by, he puts them asleep for 2.5 seconds. So you can really turn the tides in people running away from you. His first ult is called Carrion Swarm. After a 1 second, charge or channel, he explodes into an invulnerable bat swarm for 3 seconds.
Oh, jeez.
All the bats deal damage, and Vampiric Touch during this heals for 100% of damage done to heroes.
Oh, nice.
And then his other ability is quite dickish, and I'm really intrigued in using it in games. It's called Dark Conversion. You channel on an enemy hero for 0.75 seconds, then you swap health percentages with the target over a period of 3 seconds.
Interesting.
So if you're almost dead, you just go, we swapped health percentages now. Not value, percentage.
Yeah.
And it's pretty quick, like, it's over 3 seconds, so each second they lose a chunk of their health.
Nice.
And they added some really badass traits. Like at level 1, he can get Vampiric Aura, where it passes his Vampiric Touch ability to nearby allied heroes. So 10% of any physical damage they deal to an enemy, they get back as health.
Very nice.
And level 16 is good if you're just going like full psycho. Because there's a talent called Blind as a Bat, where Mal'Ganis loses all vision, like he can't, it basically goes all fog of war, and you can only see Mal'Ganis.
Oh.
But it removes the cooldown and mana cost of Fell Claws.
Oh.
So you can just
Interesting.
spam the shit out of it.
Yeah, wow. That's scary.
Yeah, and say you're playing with a friend and chatting over Discord, you can call targets.
Yeah, well, you'd have to. You
Yeah.
lose so much information. You need team chat.
And one of his heroics at level 20, you can get one called Seeker Swarm, where Carrion Swarm's bats can fly out after he transforms to seek out enemies, and they damage and sleep their target.
Nice.
So he seems like he's got a ton of crowd control. He's going to be a really fun one to play. I'm looking forward to him.
Yeah, definitely.
And his the skins at launch are a bunch of nice recolors, and they're actually giving him a mech as his first alternate skin.
Fancy.
This episode of Press Start to Join is brought to you by the Alberta Podcast Network, powered by ATB. And they also support a lot of other amazing podcasts, like Assumptions. A Christian and an atheist have a polite conversation. Kind of. Daniel and Kyle have competing worldviews and yet still remain close friends. You can find their podcast and many more at albertapodcastnetwork.com.
And with that, we're on to the tidbits. First up, we've got Stardew Valley coming to iOS on October 24th.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it just kind of came out of left field there. Apparently, it's going to be the full version of the game and should play almost identically to all the other versions, just with rebuilt controls for the touchscreen.
Yeah.
All the single-player content up to patch 1.3 is going to be available at launch, but there is no multiplayer support, unfortunately.
Oh.
So as easy as it seems to just like get a bunch of friends all with phones and play together, something's not powerful enough or just not supporting it, unfortunately. There is one neat thing though. You can actually transfer your PC save file over to your phone using iTunes.
Oh, wow. That's a neat ability.
Yeah, if you have a lot of time invested on the PC, but you really want to play it on mobile, it's actually portable, at least one way. I'm not sure about it coming back at all. After that Disney firing debacle, James Gunn has officially been hired by Warner Bros. For the next Suicide Squad movie. So it's been a big mistake from Disney, but I mean, good on the DC universe for taking advantage of it, because James Gunn has done a couple of really good movies in the MCU, and I'm looking forward to seeing how he can improve the Suicide Squad franchise.
Yeah, I might actually see Suicide Squad too.
Yeah, no kidding. Although it's not DC, but it is a non-Marvel superhero movie. I do need to see Venom, I think. I've heard that it is a lot of fun.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not hear that from the Podzilla crew.
Really?
Yeah.
I heard it's not necessarily the best movie, but it's like a fun action movie.
If you like Transformer films, fun action, I guess.
I don't know, Transformers really get up their own butt a lot of the time. I want more action and more the symbiote threatening to eat someone's limbs and then just leave him like a turd rolling in the breeze.
Why? That's so unvenom to me. He always seemed more like the lurking bad guy, not making weird jokes.
I think that's part of how they're kind of reinventing Venom, is just bringing in yes, this is kind of just a weird dude and it's an alien symbiote and they're feeding off of each other mentally. So that he's going to be a bit cracked. And I think it'll be fun to watch. Last news out of the week here. The World Ends With You Final Remix is out tomorrow as of recording. So if you're listening to this, it's out now. You should probably just load up your Switch and buy it, because it looks good. And the original was very good. And apparently, I just heard about this recently, it is introducing co-op battles using 2 Joy-Cons.
Aw, dang.
So fans of the original might recall that on the DS you would have one character on each screen using touchscreen controls on the D-pad for each of them, and you can control them both with one controller or one touch screen, or each player on co-op can use a single Joy-Con and control the 2 characters together in fights. Looks like a ton of fun.
Yeah, that sounds really cool.
And with that, we're on to recommendations. Josh, what do you have for us this week?
Well, it might not be for everybody, but fans of Big Mouth definitely need to check out Season 2.
Oh, yeah?
It covers a lot more about growing up, and it gets a lot riskier with what they're willing to do with a cartoon, I guess.
Ooh, riskier and riskayer.
Yes, definitely. And they bring up a lot of challenging subjects about growing up and how awkward and terrible it is, and I think they pretty much nailed it.
Nice.
The only other thing on Netflix I'm looking more forward to than a season 3 of this is the upcoming season 3 of F is for Family.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that show. That's a good one.
Yeah, this season's going to feature Vince Vaughn in some capacity.
Cool.
But back to the recommendation, it's Big Mouth Season 2. If you've got a little uncomfortable from Season 1, then do not touch this with a 10-foot pole.
Fair enough.
But if you definitely were able to enjoy it and reflect a little bit on yourself, it was great. Oh my goodness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought it was solid.
And it immediately picks up from Season 1, because I was marathoning Season 1 with Season 2 coming up. So I actually didn't even notice. I was like, did I just forget this from the end of Season 1? But it was Season 2 already.
It just picked right up.
Oh yeah, it's great.
Nice. And actually, just a quick sidebar, speaking of Netflix stuff, anyone who's been watching Supernatural, based on my recommendation a few weeks ago, might notice that as of release of this episode, it's not on Netflix anymore. And that's because we're living in the worst universe. It's been removed from Netflix as of October 12th.
Oh.
So you're not crazy. It is gone. I don't know how we'll be watching it, but I'm partway through season 9 right now, and it's so good, and I need to watch more of it, and I will be very sad once it is removed from Netflix.
I'm glad it's a show so many people like. I just wasn't able to get into it.
That's fair. It gets weird and good, and sometimes monster of the week, and sometimes amazing plot lines, but overall it's very enjoyable.
And I know what the shows I like. I can't judge anyone else on their viewing habits.
Hey, I'm the one who set up a Siri shortcut on my phone to watch Celery Man on demand.
Yeah, but that's just that's one skit. Isn't that Paul Rudd?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
Anyway, on to my recommendation for this week. Unrelated to all of that stuff. It is The Queen of Crows by Mike Cole.
Oh, I might have picked that up from the pre-show.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about related stuff. The Queen of Crows is just as powerful as the first book in this series, The Armored Saint, which I actually recommended back on episode 183, which that was a while ago.
Yeah.
It picks up immediately after the first book, and it pulls no punches, following Helwaz and her power armor as she leads her village to, hopefully, eventually, freedom. And it's powerful, it's visceral, it's so good. Such a departure from Mike Cole's previous writings, and just amazing. Very, very much worth checking out. The first book was so unexpected, so good, and this continues on its legacy proudly. Definitely worth checking out.
Man, I wish I had the patience to read. I'm almost done Adventures of Sherlock Holmes.
Well, I mean, hey, that takes patience and like parsing weird language sometimes too. So I think you're doing enough there. Not everyone needs to read like 5 books in 2 weeks.
The Kindle app is really nice because when I don't get a word, I can just tap and hold it, and then it gives me the definition and a Wikipedia lookup.
This is very true.
Micro recommendation, the Kindle app for your phone.
Have I not recommended that before?
I'm not sure.
Oh, I do a lot of reading through that.
So if you liked this episode or the show in general, give us a like, or follow us on your favorite podcatcher, or give us a subscribe on YouTube. These will be weekly posts to the YouTube page from now on.
And reviews and comments and subscriptions, they all just help us get more visibility and out there into more ears. You can also drop us a line at PS2J Show pretty much everywhere. We've got Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Gmail, and PS2JShow.com, which is arguably one of the better ways to listen. It's got all the episodes tagged and searchable and commentable and all that fun stuff.
And you're listening to this podcast because we're supported by the fantastic Alberta Podcast Network powered by ATB. You can find them and every other great podcast they support on albertapodcastnetwork.com.
And as always, a big thank you to Kevin MacLeod. He's at Incomptech and the soundtrack to the internet. He provides all the music for all the episodes that you're listening to.
And thank you very much for listening.
And thanks for pressing start.